like to call the meeting to order. If you'd stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome everyone, and welcome everyone watching from home. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Present.
Trustee Gatt.
Present.
Trustee Kazam.
Present.
Trustee Goff.
Present.
Trustee Wigginton.
Present.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Present.
All right, good to see everyone. Item 4 is the approval of the minutes from the Board of Trustees meeting on September 6, 2022. I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. We would be at comments from the audience. If anyone here tonight would like to address the board, please come forward to the podium and give your name and address, and try and keep your remarks under 5 minutes. Anyone here tonight to address the board? Going once, going twice. Comments from the audience are closed. We'd be at old business. Any old business to come before the board? Hearing none, we'll get right into new business. The first is approval of ordinance 2022-1686, an ordinance amending Title 4, Chapter 1 of the Village Code of the Village of Peoria Heights to amend the liquor control ordinance by adding a bring your own bottle provision for licensed tobacco businesses. Trustee DeVore, I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2022-1686.
And a second?
Second.
Go ahead, Trustee DeVore.
So in our last meeting, we did approve to change so that there would be a cigar lounge. And this business is now looking for us to allow them to have a bring your own bottle provision to their business. I believe that Mr. Cummings is in the audience tonight.
Yes, he is.
Sure.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so I don't know if he would like to explain to us kind of what his thought process is on this, because I think there's some questions about it.
Sorry, I'm not used to standing on this side. Bart Cumming, 423 East Francis, and I own the property in question at 3901 North Prospect. So let me ask you guys something. What do you know about our business model or our business plan?
I know very little, so I would love an explanation.
Great, great. Yeah, when I saw the original ordinance, I kind of got that impression that you guys really, that there was some miscommunication as far as my ability to get you guys that information. So what we're doing is, it is a private cigar lounge. We are selling memberships and running humidor lockers. We are not going to have retail at this time. And the reason why is given supply chain issues and inflation coupled, I'll be honest, with the excise and sales taxes involved, it leaves very little profit margin. And, I've got 2 boys at Indiana University right now, so, I definitely need the cash flow. But so hopefully that'll change at some point in time. So we are going to offer 3 different, well now we've decided that we need 5 after talking to some people at a golf outing for Camp Big Sky last Friday, raising some money for their worthy charity, that the base membership is $30 a month. And you must be 21 to enter. No one under 21 is allowed on premises, period. Only members are allowed, and guests, depending on the membership level you have, some memberships will allow the ability to bring guests. But our base membership is $30 a month, and that just gets you in the door with your cigars. And you also have the ability to rent a humidor locker, as well as be eligible for private monthly members-only events that we will be hosting. The next level up would be is $40 a month, and it's the same as the base, but it includes the ability to bring a guest. You can bring the same guest twice a month before we require them to get their own membership. The additional perk for that membership is that they are automatically entered into the Cigar of the Month Club. Since we're not going to offer any retail, as one of the benefits of membership, we are going to feature a different cigar maker or country of origin every month. And those sticks will be complimentary to the members. And then at the end of the month, we're going to have giveaways and drawings as well. Now getting to the alcohol portion, our top individual membership is $50 a month. And that includes all the previous perks, plus the ability to bring your own bottle. And that also extends to our corporate membership as well. So only our two most expensive memberships, those members are the only ones that are allowed to bring alcohol on the premises. They are limited to 2 drinks maximum. The drinks, wine is 2 5-ounce glasses, beer 2 12-ounce glasses. Hard liquor can be 2 2-ounce pours, or you can have a double for 4 ounces, or you can have 2 cocktails with 2 ounces, but no more. And our contract with our membership is, if you violate any of our provisions, you're gone, period. We will not tolerate anyone coming in and, getting drunk and making a scene. This isn't that kind of place. This is more Club Creve Coeur than, Roadhouse, so.
I have some questions for you.
Yeah.
And thanks for the explanation. Nothing like this has ever come before us, as far as I can remember. And so I'm just trying to figure out, in my position, which is economic development, how this business, and I think it sounds like a really innovative idea, generates sales tax revenue for the village of Peoria Heights, because you're taking away any kind of sales that would generate tax income for the village. But we're also paying our attorney to write an ordinance specifically for your business. So I'm just curious, do you foresee selling on your premises in the future?
You know what, optimistically speaking, I would like to say so. Unfortunately, economic indicators don't point that way right now, but, in the future, yes, I would like to add retail. I will tell you that we will pay use tax on the humidor lockers up front, and, those are going to be a total of about $12,000. And so the village will receive their portion of that use tax. And, I would also say that, our space right now used to be an accounting firm. So it has never generated sales tax revenue. But what we're going to do to help with sales tax revenue is 2 things, okay? The demographic that we are catering to is the same demographic that we went in the Uptown Corridor. And sure, those people are here a couple nights a week, but I think that this will give them incentive to come more than a couple times a week, or to come more frequently. And to sweeten the deal for prospective members, we have My Honeydew 2, which any of the memberships, a spouse can be added for an additional $10 a month with full membership privileges. So, instead of, maybe somebody saying, "Hey, honey, I'm gonna go up to the lounge tonight and smoke a cigar and drink a little scotch. I'll see you later." If hubby and wife are both going out, perhaps they come out for dinner and then roll down to the lounge to have a drink and a cigar as a nightcap. So, we are going to be bringing traffic into the village. It is going to be south of Lake Street, but we're hoping that the increased traffic will generate interest and promote some development, some additional retail along that corridor. Because, I mean, right now, the So Creative building is empty. Peggy closed up shop, she still owns it, but, and then next door to us is, it's a non-owner occupied rental property. And then, we've got the gal with the barber shop up by Pizza Works. But, we, with Dunkin' Donuts across the street, and obviously the potential is there because McDonald's is our #1 sales tax generator with Walgreens #2. Or has that changed since I've been on the board? I know Jeff's kind of shaking his head a little bit like.
Plumbing.
Pardon?
Plumbing does pretty good on Lake Street. Highline Supply,
Well, they're Peoria, man.
or Peoria Heights. I've seen, the drawing is
Are they?
perfect.
Okay.
It's perfect.
All right, I'll be honest with you, I'd rather have Junction City, but, no disrespect to Highline Supply, but,
So it's really like a private club?
yes.
Okay. So then, I have 2 other questions, and I'm sure my fellow trustees have other questions as well. I have a question directed for safety, and how do we handle that in a situation like that any differently than any other bar or enterprise that sells liquor?
Well, I think it's, in most establishments, is how they're ran. So I think that, in knowing, Bart as long as I've known him, I think that he would run a good establishment. I think that's where it starts. But as far as any other concerns, as far as any public safety issues, I don't foresee any issues.
But we're not issuing a liquor license, so there'd be no walkthroughs or there.
No. It's a private.
Yeah, it is a private club. We are, more than willing to do whatever we need to do to keep the citizens in the streets of Peoria Heights safe. For those of you that know me, I'm not a big risk taker. I don't gamble a lot. I can count on one hand and have fingers left over. I grew up here the number of times I've been to the Boat or Big Owls. I'm a very conservative kind of guy, and I don't take a lot of chances, and I wouldn't do anything to, jeopardize the future of my family, my business, my reputation, and the village reputation.
And I do know if we were to eventually have any type of issues or anything, reaching out to Bart, he would address it, and we would handle that as far as from the PD's point of view, like we handle any other issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess lastly, just for my own education, to council would be, and I guess I can fill in the blanks, but we have to have a special ordinance because he's selling memberships. This is a business.
It is a business, and he's going to have people coming in, that are not, it's not just private property owner, owner-occupied residence with a guest. It's a for-profit enterprise, even though it's a private club. We felt this was the best way to approach it, to require a permit. It's not a liquor license, but a permit, so we know where these types of clubs are.
Okay. Thank you. Those are all my questions.
Yeah, and I would have even been in favor of putting those drink maximums by beverage in the ordinance, just as kind of that safety net. Hey, I was third-generation accountant. I followed the rules. That's what accountants do. So.
I had a quick question for you. So,
Yeah, Mark.
Do you have any projection on the number of memberships you may be looking at all levels?
It's based on the website traffic and the buzz amongst the Gentlemen's Cigar Society of Central Illinois. We're worried that we might outgrow our space within a year. That's, the cigar industry has risen from 2016 to 2020. It went from 6 to 12 billion a year in sales, and it's growing at 4.7% every year.
Okay.
In an inflationary market, so, yeah. Another thing that I just thought of regarding sales tax, was that, as part of the special events that we are going to have for members, we will be hopefully bringing in cigar rollers who will be rolling and selling cigars, to members if they wish to buy them. And we're also planning on doing some events with the Cigar Shack, which is the mobile cigar lounge in town. Having them come out, instead of a food truck, we'll have a cigar truck. And, they could sell cigars out in the parking lot. And that'd be another way to generate sales tax.
I mean, I know you're not selling tobacco, but is he under the rules of making sure who's ever in there smoking tobacco is of age, or?
It's a private club.
Well, you have to be 21, Jeff, to get in. No exceptions,
All
yeah.
right.
I won't even my kids will be 21 in a few months, but yeah, they can't even come in. Yeah.
Trustee
I have a
DeVore,
question.
go ahead.
Yeah, Sarah.
How do you plan on being able to control when you're at capacity, who's allowed to be drinking and who is not allowed to be drinking? How are you going to just be able to determine which memberships, like who has what memberships and who's allowed to be drinking?
Great question, Sarah, because everyone will check in, the same that you would check in to your health club or to any other sort of private club. And that's why the deck out front will be private. So, no one can just stroll up off a Prospect and come in.
Okay, so will you be providing the glasses for them to drink out of?
We will. I mean, obviously, if someone wants to bring their favorite Glencairn or rocks glass from home to enjoy their favorite beverage, that's fine. If they want to keep it in their humidor locker, we will provide glasses. We'll have Glencairn glasses, rocks glasses, some beer steins. No shot glasses or anything like that.
Okay, so if I have like one of the higher end memberships and I bring in a guest with me, then that guest is allowed to drink as well?
Yes. If there's a $10, they have to pay a $10 one-day guest membership, but the same rules apply to them. That there is a two-drink minimum.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, the same two-drink minimum applies to them. Two-drink maximum.
Okay, and then what are your hours of operation going to be?
Right now, we're going to be closed on Mondays, and we're looking at 11 to 7 or 8 Tuesday through Thursday, depending on traffic, and then on Fridays and Saturdays from 11 to 10 or 11 to 11, again, depending on how busy we might be, and then Sundays 11 to 5 or 11 to 6.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And guys, just so you know, I think, I'm sure that most of you had this image because when I looked at the pros and the cons and looked at, what I'm doing through your eyes, my first thought was, oh my gosh, they think we're going to let like a carload of frat boys from Bradley in with a case of beer apiece and a pouch of backwood smokes, and a bottle of Fireball. No, that's not going to happen. Not at all. That's not the atmosphere. What we're doing is we're providing a relaxing atmosphere in a clean and comfortable environment for cigar enthusiasts. And we've gotten emails and messages from people all over the country that, are interested when they're in town. They want to stop in and visit the lounge.
Well, I love the idea. So, Mr. Cummings, I don't have any questions specifically about your idea, but I do have a question of council. So, Mark, let me ask you, and Trustee Kazan mentioned that we're paying for this to be written. So, the way this goes in the code as it lines up with that Chapter 4, it looks kind of like we're just tagging this on. And that's kind of what I was worried about, because I was looking at this due process thing at 4126 Part O. And I love the way how this is written, because it has a appeal process for a BYOB to bring it to the board. Under the current Chapter 4, however, which is 4124, basically the mayor decides for any other liquor license, and that's where it stops. They don't have the appeal right to the board at that point. So really what I'm seeing is BYOB facility has more due process rights than a liquor license currently.
I think that's true, except liquor license revocations, there's a whole state regulatory scheme in place with administrative review rights that you wouldn't have with a local permit like this. So, but yeah, we wanted to at least have afford some protection.
Okay.
So that the ordinance scheme, nobody can challenge as not affording anybody due process.
So as far as how this ties in with Title IV,
Yeah, that was
This-
a challenge to where do you fit it?
right, yeah, so this is kind of a self-contained title that only relates to the rest of Title IV where it states that it does?
I had thought about adding a new, sort of a new business regulatory section, not a new title, to take this out of Title IV. It's difficult. There's pros and cons to doing it different ways. Settled on this approach, but it's not the only, I would agree, not the only way to weave this into our village code scheme. The codification, though, doesn't, other than provisions that relate to other sections in the title, where you place it has no real significance in terms of interpretation or meaning, unless there are, like I say, unless there are specific references to other chapters in the title, saying, incorporating procedures from other chapters in the title, and so forth. So it matters. It matters in terms of logical flow of the village code, but substantively, I don't think there's anything in here that that's problematic by including it in Title IV.
Just the only reason is because, for a regular liquor license, there are certain things, and that are followed. There are certain regulations, inspections, promising to ensure if any other crime is happening on the premises to cooperate with the police. And if this is kind of self-contained, there are several issues where we kind of regurgitate that again.
Right.
But, but this is, in your mind, we're kind of just sticking it here.
We're sticking it here because it doesn't make sense anywhere else, honestly. It was, this is the closest fit, to be honest. I agree it's not ideal.
Okay, thank you.
But it didn't justify, in my mind, and I could be talked out of this, its own title. Adding a whole new title to the code just for this seemed to fit into business regulations. And if you're going to put it in the business regulation title, it seems to fit in Chapter 1 better than any other chapters because it regulates alcohol.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, if you're ready for the question, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore?
Aye.
Trustee Gett?
Aye.
Trustee Kazam?
Aye.
Trustee Goff?
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton?
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg?
Aye. All right, that passes. Good luck.
Thanks, and we trust we'll see you all down there for the grand opening.
That's a strong possibility. Okay, we'd be at the next item, which is approval of ordinance 2022-1687, an ordinance creating additional Class A1 liquor licenses within the corporate limits of the Village of Peoria Heights. Trustee DeVore, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2022-1687.
Second, please.
Second.
Okay, take it away, Trustee DeVore.
Okay, so I was under the impression that this was adding a liquor license so that we could have another one, because we would be giving one to Mr. Cummings for this. So, but in our previous conversation, we're saying this is not a license, so I'm going to defer to council to kind of explain this.
Sure. Yeah, the way they appear on the agenda, they appear to be related, but they're not. This is an additional A1 license at the request of a gas station that, I think it's the mobile station, that is looking for a license in order to have on-premise consumption so they can have gaming terminals. So yeah, completely unrelated.
That's correct. So to have gaming, you must have a
To have gaming, you
pour
gotta have
liquor license,
on-premise
not
consumption. and
not
that's what this
package.
is. So to go from B to A1 gives them the ability to sell, I think it's B, instead of just packaged liquor, packaged and, for on-premise consumption, which is an absolute requirement for gaming.
Oh, okay, I'm so sorry that I was misinformed with that. Can you tell me what the address is of that?
Mobile station, do you know?
Yeah, it's the mobile station on Prospect.
It's on
Prospect and Lake.
Prospect and Lake, owned by
Okay.
Rick Patel is the owner.
Yeah.
And incidentally, this all originated, Mr. Patel came in to have a chat with me, and he also is the owner of Katy Cats. Part of our conversation and part of why I brought this to you was because he has assured me he's going to improve both properties. So that will be part of what we expect him to follow through with, in us supporting the pour license for him to get gaming. So both inside the store and the exterior of the mobile station and Katy Cats, we hope to see some improvements.
So if we issue this pouring license or this consumption license, that means that they could consume alcohol in the gas station while they're playing
Yes.
the games? Now, is that the only way you approve gaming license? Because I thought if you classified yourself as a truck stop, you could also,
I don't know what the rules are. I know truck stops are treated differently. I don't know if they have to have pour licenses.
Because
that's its own creature under the
right,
gaming
because
rules.
I know there's a gas station in Spring Bay, and I stopped in there once because they have video gaming. And I talked to the manager, and they said, yeah, we just put a picnic table out back, and that we called ourselves a truck stop. And that's how they got around it.
I think it has to do with the square footage of the property.
It's
Yeah, I dealt with that a little bit with Bex. It's a square footage of the land, if it qualifies or not. But you are correct, that does make a difference.
Okay.
So is this all a mirage? I mean, are they going to actually serve alcohol?
Only if you want it. They don't have to serve.
They just have to have the
They
license.
have to have a license to serve.
You can't even apply for the gaming license
I
unless...
get that, but so are people going to be having drinks at this mobile station?
They could be, yes.
Does the business owner plan to serve drinks?
That's not their goal. They
No.
don't have anybody to serve them, so you're gonna have to wait until somebody can come and, I mean, that was my understanding on the BP station. I didn't talk to Mr. Patel on the mobile station, but they're not interested in selling alcohol for on-premise consumption. They just want the gaming license, and this is a hoop they have to jump through. But it is possible, theoretically it's possible, somebody orders a beer.
So somebody could come in there and buy, because they sell packaged liquors there already. Somebody could come in there, buy a six-pack and then open it up while they're gaming, or?
Yes,
So it supersedes the rules of on-site, because I know
well,
there's
it's
different.
an on-site license, just like a bar.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't have, they're not gonna have anybody walking around with a tray acting like they
No,
need it.
they have a
But if
very
they buy
discreet-
something, walk up to the cooler, buy something out of the cooler, they can, as long as they're gaming, they can sit there and
And
drink.
that's only in the gaming area, which is gonna be roped off, it's a very discreet area, and it's very small.
How many machines are they asking for?
I can't remember, 3?
Yeah, it's a very small area. They really don't have the space.
But with all of the regulations that I just previously said about Title IV would now fall onto this mobile station.
Correct.
So the police have the ability to inspect, ensure that
Yes.
no crimes are being performed on
And
the.
as both gas stations are current liquor license holders, just for packaged liquor, off-premise consumption, police department's already familiar with
And go through background checks and fingerprinting. And the liquor license is a privilege, it's not a right, and the liquor commissioner can discipline or pull the liquor license with just cause and due process, right, counsel?
Correct.
So being home rule, can we say, we're going to give you a consumption license, but you can't allow them to consume? I mean, can we say,
I don't think so. I think that would be, something that would undermine the state law. We can't do anything inconsistent with state law. So if the state says you gotta have a consumption license, presumptively, that carries with it the ability to actually consume alcohol on the premises.
Right.
It's a good idea, but
Right.
I don't know that we would get away with that.
So you just alluded, counsel, to the fact that the BP is going to be asking for this already, or has?
They has.
Okay, so that exists.
So we should probably clear something up, because as liquor commissioner, I can grant those, but there's not another license to grant to Mr. Patel. So that's really what we're asking for, an additional license. Not, it could go to anyone, but that's the intent, that's my intent.
Correct. This only happens occasionally, so it bears understanding. The board, the village board here, decides how many licenses in each classification are available within the village, and then the mayor, as president and hence liquor commissioner, decides who gets those licenses, and if there's disciplinary action, as he just stated, then he takes that disciplinary action. So the reason this is in front of the board is to determine, do we add another A1 license? The mayor's telling you the reason he's asking for the additional A1 license because he's been requested by the station.
And out of a sense of fairness, I had a long talk with Tony at BP, as did the chief, and there were some expectations put on that license as well before we would support it. So that was issued, which we weren't encouraging Mr. Patel, his competition, to seek a pour license, but obviously he heard on the street that BP was getting one, so he came in and requested the same. Out of a sense of fairness, I'm bringing this to you to ask for another license to issue to him, but there again are expectations that I've asked him as well.
so just for clarification, we've issued one to BP? Are we going to? Is that something we've already
Yes, he has a package. We've already changed that.
done? Okay, so we had an available license that you issued.
He got the last
I see.
available license.
I see. So I know, I don't really have any issues with the consumption license. I know several, like the Spring Bay gas station is one of them, and I'm pretty familiar with a few down in Springfield as well. And I've never heard of any issues. Like, I don't think people are like getting trashed while they're gambling on these machines. So I don't, even though it's new to the village, I don't really think there's a huge risk involved in it, personally. But
Well, I think, whether it's, recently approving a dispensary, whether it's lottery or gaming, or if it's alcohol, there can always be a downside. But it's permitted in the state of Illinois, gaming and alcohol. And again, this license versus the change we just approved, the previous order of business, we have a whole lot more control now by issuing this license and expectations within the business that allows us to do walkthroughs and keep a whole lot more give a whole lot more attention to the business and what's going on there.
Well, Mayor, you say it's permitted, but, it sounds like from council, it's encouraged. You have to have a liquor license in order to gamble, so you have to
that's what I was
be
didn't
drinking.
understand.
I don't like it, but yes, in trying to, the gasoline business is very difficult. I think they make most of their money, probably the business model, on you spending some money on the inside on a bottle of water or pack of gum, and it's getting even more competitive. So these operators, are interested in gaming. And I told him no the first, I don't know, he had asked Dustin probably a year or so ago, and I had told them no, but I've seen the business model change and how hard they are fighting to stay in business. So that's what caused that, Trustee Wigginton. I was a little, not completely at ease about this, but I finally, because of the climate and what he agreed to do, help me issue the license. So you're exactly right. It's really the state that's setting the bar.
So is it, you gotta have the liquor license if you have gaming, but you're a gas station? Now, if you wanna just open up a restaurant and have gaming and not sell alcohol, can you still get the gaming? You still have to sell alcohol?
Yes.
Well, God bless the state of Illinois.
And again, I don't,
I don't have a problem with it, it doesn't make sense to me.
but I think the mentality is that liquor license gives the municipality law enforcement more control. Is that the whole?
That is true. It's a way of sharing control from the state to the municipality. The municipality already has presumably liquor licensing regulations in place, is used to regulating bars. This fits it, the gaming into that already existing scheme, even though the state bears a lot of the control over the actual gaming and the terminals and what's allowed and what's not allowed. This gives the municipality control over the actual premises. So I think that's the justification.
Mr. Mayor, I had a question. You said that expectations were voiced to the BP station and to the mobile station. With the BP station, have those expectations been met?
I tell you what, those were different issues we had with both businesses. There were a lot of police calls at BP, and I was very upset with him, and the chief and I both laid out our concerns. And I'd ask the chief to address if he feels some of those concerns have been taken care of with BP.
That was my primary concern, was the amount of traffic. Obviously, they were open late into the evening, 24 hours. That was one of the requests the mayor made, where they close, early at midnight. And the amount of calls we were getting there, you wouldn't believe it. So they've complied. I've been happy with the follow-through. So, of course, I support it.
Thank you.
One last question. Do we anticipate Beck's and the other gas stations coming to Ward Drive to also request liquor licenses for gaming?
Yes.
One last thing for me then too, Mayor. So we keep adding the numbers to these liquor licenses. I haven't, I've been on the board for less than 2 years now, but have we just kept adding them? Have we ever had a consolidation of liquor licenses?
We've added them as in the short time I've been here, but if they've ever been denied, I can't answer that. You'd have to ask someone like Trustee Gett.
Well, I believe there's been a few times where a place is closed, and if somebody didn't come around that needed that, wanted that liquor license, that it would get removed, but we've never, I don't recall ever taking one off the books, because there's always somebody waiting in line for a liquor license.
That's exactly, so the difference is that when there's only one to be had, then they have to come here.
Right.
That's the only difference.
And if we don't want to add it, we don't have to add it. I mean, evidently these owners have jumped through the hoops that have been put in before them, and if Chief Sutton says it's okay, I really don't have a problem.
But you're really adding another pour license. This business already has a license to sell liquor. It's just an additional, allowing them to do the pour instead of package.
Okay.
Yeah, additional on-site.
So, and just to elaborate on what Trustee Wigington said, the reason we set it at just one available, is to, not that I would believe you would just hand out liquor licenses, Mayor, but it's kind of a check and balance with the ability just to hand out liquor licenses, that it has to come back to the village to increase the limit of licenses the village allows.
That's a policy decision, how much alcohol sales you all want within the village limits, and
That's the reason. That's the rationale.
Right.
anyone
I have a
else?
question for you,
Yeah,
Mayor.
go ahead.
So for the mobile station, you are saying that if we approve the license, if you approve the license for them, they in return made a verbal agreement to do updated modifications on the facility, or they've agreed to do updated modifications on the facility and then they will receive the liquor license?
We didn't quite phrase it that way. I think it was just a good conversation. He agreed to go ahead and start,
Yeah.
and that could be a BDD request too, so.
Trustee DeVore, what I envision, using the same template that we used for BP, there were some guidelines that were set out that they agreed to, and council did a great job of writing that up. I think we'd use that same template moving forward to Katy Cats, even though some of the requests are different.
There was a written document that I had Council Walton draft for BP, and there would be something almost very similar, if not exact. So once you approve this, that doesn't mean I'm going to issue him the license yet. So you'll just add one more license, and then probably Mr. Walton and Chief Sutton and I will sit down one final time with Mr. Patel and iron this out. And if we're not comfortable, then I assure you I wouldn't issue the license.
One more question, Council. When we increase the amount of licenses we have and we issue that license to a particular business, is that license that business only? So say if we had 3 bars go out of business, then we'd have 3 available liquor licenses.
Then the board could take away available licenses. You can only take something away if it hasn't been issued to a particular business owner.
Right.
So if we have available, when BP came, we had an available A1 license.
Okay.
Before that, the board could have said, you know what, there's an extra available A1 license, we want to pull it.
Who keeps the tally of those licenses?
Sarah?
Okay. Do you know how many we have offhand?
This would be 13, I believe.
13.
A1s, I don't know total.
Yeah, and then some are packaged, some are pour.
Okay.
There's 5 or 6 different classes.
Okay.
There's clubs and gift out here, there's different classifications.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee DeVore,
Aye.
Trustee Gett,
Aye.
Trustee Kazam,
Aye.
Trustee Goff,
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton,
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thank you all. Next is approval of a site plan application filed by Beck Oil Company of Illinois seeking approval of a site plan for development of a gas station with a convenience store and car wash located at the southwest corner of East War Memorial Drive and North Central Avenue, Peoria Heights, Illinois, 61616, which property is currently zoned B2. Trustee Kazam, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Got a second, please?
Second.
Go ahead, Trustee Kazam.
Okay, the next 2 agenda items refer to the same parcel or parcels. The first one is the site plan application. It actually went through zoning and passed uncontested last week. And they're just asking for us to approve the site plan, which is in our packet today. I think that everything has been hammered out here. The only thing that's left is the commentary from IDOT, which you'll see here on War Memorial Drive. They may or may not issue a right-in, right-out egress and ingress, but we'll hear more about that later. But really, this just has to do with the site plan that's before us today.
Questions?
If they don't approve the right-in, right-out, would that change? Would we have to vote again on a different site plan?
I don't think so, but I don't know for sure, and I'm going to defer to Dustin on
Yeah,
that.
I believe that would go back to zoning for a change, correct, Council?
Yeah, if it's a major change, we have to
But-
start the process over.
Because from what I understand, this has to go all the way through to Paris, this road, right?
Right.
Okay.
And just to let you know, Trustee Weisenberg, your administrator and I have been spending a great deal of time with IDOT.
And
So-
to that point, Mr. Mayor, and this kind of goes to you too, Mark. So looking over the zoning board's findings and having spent some time on that, I looked at number 5 on the zoning board findings, and it does say, yes, to adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress and egress. So
That was obviously knowing, and we did talk about what happens if IDOT doesn't approve. And I'll tell you exactly what I told the zoning board. Anything other than a de minimis change is going to require new site plan approval.
okay.
Changing the entrances, any ingress egress change is clearly more than de minimis. They asked me for an example of de minimis. I said, if you change the kind of shrubs from one, species to another, that's probably de minimis.
Okay.
But if you start moving things around, especially ingress, egress, traffic flow, parking, anything like that, you're going to need to come back.
Okay. So you feel comfortable with that?
I do.
Okay.
And the approval of this site plan will allow them to start doing some works on the property, is that correct?
Oh, yeah, they're already working.
Yes, okay. It'll let them, they'll, okay.
Yeah.
And we're hopeful that our discussions with IDOT will come to a good conclusion. I do want to thank Senator Kaler. He's also been very involved in all the meetings with us as well, and there are many layers to IDOT, so these decisions probably go all the way to Springfield. Anyone else? If you're ready for the question, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Goff.
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton.
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Next is approval of a special use application filed by Beck Oil Company of Illinois seeking approval of a special use for development of a gas station with a convenience store and car wash located at the southwest corner of East War Memorial Drive and North Central Avenue, Peoria Heights, Illinois 61616, which is currently zoned B2. Trustee Kazam, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, go ahead, please.
So just as this says, the property or properties are currently zone B2, I understand that gas stations are not allowed in B2.
They're allowed only with the zoning board approving a special use, and then this.
That's
board
which this is,
approving that.
okay.
Correct.
So that's what we're doing here.
Yep.
Is there anyone here tonight with Beck Oil? Oh, please come, would you mind coming forward and giving us your name and telling us about your project, please? I know Bill must be out of town.
Yes, he is, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Peggy Malekish. I'm Director of Operations with Beck's. And we're super excited to be coming to the Heights and part of the community and, moving forward. So hope we can start soon, so.
All right, I'm sure, questions, trustees?
Are you, kind of stupid, are you selling diesel? Because I tell you what, you're going to miss out on a lot of money. Because
Yes,
a lot of
we
business
will be
up and down
selling
there.
diesel.
Are you going to sell DEF for the diesels for like maybe?
I don't think we will in bulk, but we will sell,
You won't be selling it on a pump or anything?
no.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Anyone else?
Well, I have a question for Mark. So both these ordinances look like they're exactly the same, but
We always separate them because theoretically you might approve of a gas station in general on that site, so the special use is okay, but you don't like the road, for example, from War Memorial to Paris, so you don't like the site plan, so we always keep them separate.
Okay.
Theoretically, if you're going to approve one, you're going to approve the other, but that's not necessarily the case.
Okay.
Always separated. But yet they're basically identical.
Anyone else? Gaming is part of your business plan?
Correct.
So just a heads up, everyone.
I say aye on that. Oh,
All right, well, we're excited to get you going and appreciate you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Looking forward to getting it up and running. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Excuse me. Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Goff.
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton.
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg.
aye.
All right, that passes. Next is Resolution 2022-05, a resolution in support of and approving participation by the Village of Peoria Heights in the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Tourism Attractions and Festival Grant Program. Trustee Kazam, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
A second, please. Go ahead.
So Mr. Aldrich has been working with the Peoria Heights Chamber to apply for this grant, which is offered by the DCEO for tourism attractions and specifically, in our case, festivals. It's a 50-50 matching grant. So if we were awarded the grant, the village's portion would be just over $16,000. The sum is here, $16,672. I understand that we have earmarked $11,000 per year for the chamber, some of which I think we've already awarded them this year, haven't we, for some, or no? Okay, we've taken that from other, so we could use that money over 2 years to pay for this. And this will go to support the Taste, the Art Fair, and the Kringle Market, I think. So that's what they're asking for.
Hi, Teresa. Would you like to tag on to that, add anything? Okay.
I thought we had a
Questions?
gentleman that came here earlier in the year and asked for this funding. I
I
forget
don't
his
think
name.
so. I was getting confused. The Arts Alliance has been in front of us, but that was not in the line item for the chamber, probably. Is that right, Stephanie?
The chamber was here, I think, earlier in the year, Trustee Weisenberg, advocating for us to.
Oh, I know
them
exactly
up.
what it was. So Chris Reese
That's who it was.
came and he advocated for the line item in the budget for the chamber to be what we put in the budget to happen.
To the 11,000.
Yeah, so
Okay.
what he asked for was what we did, was just budget the money in the budget.
And now we're going to spend this money against that.
Yeah, if they're awarded the grant, we would put this $11,000 over the next 2 years. So it's really $22,000 toward the $16,667. That would be our 50% share.
Okay. Because he came advocating for those funds for the Kringle Mart and other things. But if we consume those funds with this, then how's the Kringle Mart getting funded?
Just doubles
Well,
their
this,
money.
I think they intend, if they're awarded this grant, they intend to use these monies for those exact
Oh,
events
okay.
for the next 2 years.
And have more.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I have a couple questions. So technically, we wouldn't have to give them the full 22,000 towards this grant though, right? So we could give them just 8,300 each year, which would allow them to have the additional funds for anything else they needed. Is that what we would plan to do, or we would take up the entire $22,000?
I don't think we would take up the entire $22,000. We would take up $16,672. So we
Right.
would have some left over.
Right, okay, so I understand that they would use these, so they would be getting the additional like $16,000 from the state. So if you said Teresa is there, if Teresa could answer, like, would the remaining funds be left over, would that be enough to cover all the things that they want to do with that money?
Go ahead, Teresa.
I'm sorry, what was your question again? I apologize.
Trustee DeVore, will you repeat the question, please?
Yes, so if you received this additional $16,000 from the state, is that going to be enough money for the next 2 years to conduct all the events that you want to do, that you have planned?
So actually, the grant opportunity is from July of this year till July of next year. So it would only cover the Taste, which is currently going on. They said that's fine. We just provide the receipts.
So reimbursement.
Right. So it would be the Taste this year, the Kringle Market, and the Fine Art Fair. And then past that, the grant is over. So it ends in July.
And the administration of the grant would be by the village, correct?
Right.
Okay, so we would take funds out of their line item for 2 years, but the grant is actually only 1 year.
Well, it overlaps, from my understanding,
Right.
from this
right,
year to next year.
Right. It ju-
Okay, and then my only other question is, since the Fine Arts Fair is actually put on by the Fine Arts Collaborative, is that any conflict with the grant regulations for this money to be used for the Fine Arts Fair?
The Fine Art Fair is being turned back over to the Peoria Heights Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, that answers all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk?
Trustee DeVore,
Aye.
Trustee Gett,
Aye.
Trustee Kazan,
Aye.
Trustee Goff.
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton.
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Any miscellaneous business come for the board?
A few meetings ago, Mark, you were absent and you had one of your colleagues standing in, and there were some questions about the zoning for central transport. And I believe they were going to defer it back to you.
That never made it back to me, I apologize.
Okay. There was some questions, if I remember correctly, about the amount of noise
Oh,
the company is generating
okay.
throughout the night. Moving their trucks.
Chief investigated that, Trustee Weisberg. That's when you were at your mom's dinner
Right.
that night, so I'll let,
I did reach out to Central Transport. I spoke with the manager and the project manager, and there was no work done during third shift at all. And he kind of went through that with me, and he kind of went through why they were doing what they were doing. I let him know what our noise complaints were. I had a very good conversation with him, and I have a number, so if we do have other complaints, I'll reach out. But there were no third shift construction going on at all. And as far as the dust, he understood it was a short-term issue they were dealing with on Route 29, but long-term, what that's doing with the water runoff onto 29, he thought it would be more of a public safety, issue to address on his end if he could. So, that's the reason they took that route. But I got some of those complaints as well, and I will say probably 90% of them were unfounded. Definitely the noise ordinance that I addressed when it was first brought up, because that is a violation. We do have that in place. So there was no third shift construction. So whatever they were hearing, it could have been trucks, but it was not construction.
Okay. And I think a lot of the issues that neighborhood has is they've cleared out a lot of that brush. And I think that brush was a noise damper from the neighborhood. So now that brush is gone, they're hearing a lot of normal operating noise that they historically had not heard.
I'm sure it was a barrier, but really I don't think the village has any stance on that. It's their property. Correct, counsel? I mean, yeah.
Subject to the noise ordinance.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So even if they're zoned business, they still have a certain amount of 50 feet or whatever it is that you can't disturb, or explain the noise ordinance to me. So if they're a 24-hour business,
Right.
so if they're disturbing the neighborhood throughout the night, how would that?
I think that would be subject to our noise ordinance that we.
I think what we're talking about too is it's B3 down there, and I think that's what the difference comes in. I might be wrong, but it's something to look into. Because that's B3, we allow a few different things in B3 that we do just in regular, B1 or what's covered in our noise ordinance. So I'd have to go back and revisit, it's B3. I think that's kind of where what you're probably running into.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it
I'll
was.
look closer at it.
Because I don't think it was just the construction. I think it was the fact that they are a 24-hour business, and now it looks a lot nicer.
Yeah.
I mean, no one can doubt that. But without all those bushes and trees, that noise from their 24-hour business.
Well, I would guess that it's probably a B3 issue. That's why they're able to operate that way, and they're exempt from the noise ordinance as far as what it is throughout in other residential places in the village. That'd be my guess, but council and I will look into it.
and we'll do that, and the owner has been very cooperative, so, we can arrange another follow-up meeting with him too, once we get the information.
Okay.
I mean, he wants to be a good neighbor.
No, I agree. But I think it's just a matter of them cleaning up the area that's now presented an issue with the noise. Because I'm sure a trucking company is quite loud, just under normal operations. So.
We'll get back with you again.
Okay, thank you.
Superintendent Chandler, I think you have an announcement.
I was going to go ahead and make the announcement. Public Works employee Eric Quinn, we wanted to announce that he has successfully passed his water operator certification exam, which I'm happy to say brings the number of operators in Peoria Heights Water Department to 4. And at one point, certainly, Superintendent Chandler was the only one who had an operator's license after there were retirements and such. And
after your retirement?
For instance. And I think I agree with Superintendent Chandler that this speaks very well of the recent hires that we've had, and that they have this kind of dedication that they're willing to put in the hours and the time to study and prepare and pass that exam, because it's not an easy one.
And we're all very proud of Eric. I know some of us were up in Chicago when we were actually at dinner, and Superintendent Chandler made us aware of the good news, and I called Eric and congratulated him from all of us. So he's a terrific employee and now licensed.
I am very glad to hear we got more than just one, because I was here when we had just one, and that just caused immense problems. So this is good news. 4 is good. We could handle a few more if possible. I mean, I heard that the test is tough. You don't just go in there and fly by the seat of your pants. So, good job.
Any other miscellaneous? Yes, Chief.
I'd like to thank everybody who donated for the Cyberling on September 10th for the fire department. We got just a little over $3,000.
Oh, that's great. Anyone else?
I have a quick note to everybody that Prospect Road will be closed tomorrow for the Taste of the Heights from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. from Marietta to Glen. Traffic will be diverted as we normally do, east towards Columbus, up towards Glen, and back over. If everybody could please just use caution, watch for increased pedestrian traffic, and enjoy the event. I'm sure it will be a good one.
Are we closing it at Kelly? Is that where it starts?
Marietta.
Marietta? Okay.
Anyone else? All right, we would be at payment of the bills. I would ask for a motion to pay the bills.
I make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All right, any question on any of the bills or discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore?
Aye.
Trustee Gett?
Aye.
Trustee Kazam?
Aye.
Trustee Goff?
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton?
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg?
Aye.
All right, the bills are paid. Next is the treasurer's report. Madam Clerk, would you present the report, please?
Of course. At the end of August, in the general controlled accounts, there was $6,369,692.87. In the water controlled accounts, there was $1,961,462.48.
I guess I should have asked the treasurer to present that since you're here tonight. But,
I appreciate it, but
it has your signature, so we'll... All right, I'd ask for a motion to approve the report.
I make a motion to approve the report.
Second.
All right, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore?
Aye.
Trustee Gett?
Aye.
Trustee Kazam?
Aye.
Trustee Goff?
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton?
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg?
Aye.
All right, the treasurer's report's approved. Trustee Gett,
Make a motion to adjourn.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the motion to adjourn signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? We're adjourned.